Today, after the pre-game meeting, Coach Craig Berube was asked who would start in goal. His answer was, it'll be a game time decision. That has everybody wondering who is going to start in goal. Oh, I wonder who's going to start in goal. Tell me, oh, who's going to start in goal? I've got to know the answer. Is it Bennington or who? Oh, I wonder who's going to start in goal. BlueNote Fan Report. I figured I'd play that Husso video one last time because he's no longer here. He'll be stopping pucks for the Detroit Red Wings. What are they, the Detroit Red Wings? I don't know. I think you could call them the Detroit Blues. Oh, my goodness. They've got Husso, Sundqvist, Perron, and Fabry, right? They just sucking them up. And also, no, they got one more. They got a fifth one, Wallman. They also have Wallman. I don't know if Wallman's on their what do you call it? Oh, I can't think of the word now. On their roster or not, but should be here. Put Bulldog. I don't know. He might get his 9 games, but that's all I think he'll get, bud. I mean, I really do. I think that's all he's going to get. Wallman had shoulder surgery. Okay. Didn't know that. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to get my my thing to work here, and it's not my TV to be working on me. And I think I don't know if my remote went dead on me or what, but something ain't working right. So I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, wonder what the hell is going on? Yeah, man. Just being me, I guess. I don't know. All of a sudden, the volume went away. I got it connected, but it's not connected, so it doesn't make any sense to me. I'll try it again later. I don't know. Let's see here. Just being kind of sarcastic. You had a great camp. Okay, that's fine. I like sarcastic if it is. Tommy does not like the Akari signing. I do, right? I actually do because I kind of see it for what it is, right? And look, I think that Army's playing a little bit of I guess the word would be. I guess you could say it was Moneyball. Moneyball. I am doing great, Kenny. Welcome from the across the pond. Great. No, actually, you're from the land down under, Kenny. Wrong guy. You're from the land down under. I almost forgot. I get them from all over. Look, I got to talk about something, right? And I was hoping somebody would show up tonight, and I don't think they will. And this is kind of my issue with this person. In the Let's Go Blues group, and I'm not going to say the name of the person. Doug Shelton, if you're here, I love your group. You've been with me from the beginning, from the original shows, right? And you guys have supported me, and I appreciate that. I really do. There is a person in your group that I do have some issues with. He has, in the past, We have had things between the two of us, and he has this belief that he is the greatest GM in the world, that he can do better than any professional GM. I don't. Okay, I don't think I can be better than any professional GM, but I can see things that are going on. Then he put out a post that it had false information in it, right? It really did. It really had false information, and he accredited a source on the radio. Yet David Perron put out something David Perron himself on Twitter, and in an article on the Athletic, put out something completely different. Yet this guy's standing by what he says, and you know, I have an issue with that. And I put something out, and I know Doug wasn't happy with it. I tagged them both, hoping that they would show up, but obviously neither one is here. Is what it is. You got me for now. I know Lance probably gave us all yesterday, man. Lance, if you're watching, buddy, we're thinking about you, man. We are absolutely thinking about you, my friend. I hope you're doing better. I hope you get better. Just know that we're always here for you, my friend. Always here. You know, if nobody else joins me, you get me for 35, 40 minutes or an hour, whatever it is. Why do I think Army's playing Moneyball? That's a good question. Okay. You have David Perron, right? And David Perron brings what to the table, right? Oh, Doug is here. Doug, I hope you're not mad at me, bud. I was just talking. I hope you heard it. And what I said, you know, it's an apology to you for me putting it in there. Oh, my goodness. You guys, you know, speak of the devil. Hey, Lance, how are you, my friend?
I'm okay. My head's so big, I feel like I'm coming at you in 3D.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you are a little like swelling up there, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, well, you know what? We were just talking about, you know, you gave us your all yesterday, so if you didn't come on today, I completely understand it. I'm glad you're here, though, because I want to really talk about this. And Ami just brings up something that I brought up about Doug playing Moneyball. And I think he is. I really think he is. And the reason I say this is, what did David Perron give this year? I don't think he gave 20 goals. He gave 25, I think. Yeah. I think it was 25 goals and like 50, 60 points, something around those lines.
Yep.
All right, let me pull it up real quick.
I think it was somewhere between 24 and 27 goals and a total of 57 to 60 points, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So give me a hot second.
Sure. No problem.
Oh, because I want to get it right, and I want to bring something up.
Have you been watching my back and forth with Blues fans today on Twitter?
No, I haven't, bud. You're a lot of your back and forth, unless it's on Twitter, I'm not connected to, because all the big groups I've been kicked out of.
Well, I've been having some issues with people saying that the Blues didn't offer David Perron a contract, and I said,
okay. Is that from the Let's Go Blues group?
That's from them, and that's also from Two Guys, One Cup. And then I quoted Jeff Gordon's article where Armstrong says, just like I offered Backus and Schwartz offers, just like I did Perron, and they didn't take them. And hey, guy, you know, it just goes to show that some people in this town know more than other people think they do.
No, I am, you know, absolutely there. The Let's Go Blues group has told me, somebody in the Let's Go Blues group had put out that, you know, he's bagging on Army. And look, Doug Shelton, hold on, I want to say this first.
No, I just
Doug
want to
Shelton
say,
in the Let's Go Blues group. Mm-hmm. You have supported me from the beginning. I am not singling your group out. I'm not saying it's wrong. I love your group. It's something that was in the group that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I hope you understand that, Doug. I really do.
Nothing wrong with Doug.
Well, Doug came at me on and said, hey, that was mean. You shouldn't attack people like that. And I understand what he says. But when you put out false information, I mean, absolutely false information, you have to be able to take it back.
Yep.
Okay, so Matt Lewis has 26 goals.
You have to admit you were wrong, and you and I have both done this on the show along with our guests on the show.
Right, I absolutely have. We know this. Let me pull up skaters.
26 goals.
26 goals.
I said it was.
And how many points?
I think it was 57 to 60.
Okay, I'm gonna do a search for him.
Yeah, take your time.
I want to get it right because this is something that. Okay, so David Perron had 27 goals, 30 assists for 57 points. Right? Okay, now can we make up those goals and those points in the aggregate? Right? Do you know what that means? And I'm not being a jackass here because I when you say that, some people don't understand what you're saying. What we're going to do is we're going to bring in guys that are going to, in a total, get us to that point, right? That's kind of Moneyball. Brown getting a full season is going to give you more goals, right? Let's see. What did Brown do last year? Let me see if I can pull up St. Louis here real quick.
He didn't have much.
I know, but he didn't play a lot either.
No,
right? They limited him, hoping that they wouldn't have to play him the 30 games, right? So you've got Brown gave you 4 goals.
Yep, 4 goals.
Right?
Yep.
In 39 games. So let's say he gets 70 games, right? Let's say he gets 70 games. I think in 70 games he's going to give you
10 goals.
10 goals. So he's going to give you 6 more goals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he had 7 points or 7 assists for 11 points. I think he's going to be closer to 30.
I think he'll be somewhere around 18 to 20 assists. And even at 18 to 20 assists, that still makes up for some of losing.
Okay. Well, 20 assists, that's 30 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
20 assists, 10 goals, that's 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
So let me pull my little trusty writing down. And I can't look at you guys right now because I have the stats up, right? So I'm not seeing what you're putting on there, but I'm trying to pull this. So we said he's going to give us 6 more goals, and let's conservatively say 20 more points or 20 20 assists, right? We're going to say 20 assists, and that's 13 more assists, right? And for a total of 20 or 19 more points, right? Right there in that one player, we're 2/3 of the way to Perron. Does that make sense now what I'm talking about?
Oh, it's always made sense to me.
Okay, now Leddy. Let's look at, well, you know what? Let's not even do defensemen. Let's just stay with forwards. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The other guy that I think is going to get more games this year is Nathan Walker. Right? He had 30 games. He gave you 8 goals, 4 assists, and 12 points. How much more do I think he's going to get? Let's say he gets the same 70 games. I think he's going to get you 15 goals. Or is that high on in your estimation?
For who again?
Walker.
I think if 15 is a stretch, but it could happen. I think more like 11 or 12.
How about I meet you in the middle? We'll say 13 goals.
Oh, you can still say 15. I don't think it's out of reach.
Okay, well then we'll go 14, right? Because I want to find something that's a legitimate number, not out of reach, but a legitimate number. So we'll say 13. That's 5 more goals, right? 5 more goals. And points now are assists. I think that he's close in assists. I think he may get you 10 total. Right? So 6. So that's 11 more points, right? That's 11 more total points. That right there puts you at 31 points. Look how close we are now to Perron. Right? The other guy that I think is going to get, and I mean a full-blown, you're going to get the games, is Costin. Right? I think Costin's going to get 60 to 70, 80 games. I think he's going to get it. Agree, disagree?
I'm hoping he gives him that much. That way we can decide once and for all if Costin's going to stay here or leaves.
So Costin in 40 games last year gave you 4, 5 for 9.
Yep.
I think that was actually low for him. I think that he didn't get played very well. I think in a full season, I think Costin can give you 15 goals.
I think in a full season, if Berube lets him use his skill and teaches him when to take penalties, when not to take penalties, I think if he plays a full season or almost a full season, even 60 games, I think he could be 25, 30 points. People are going to think I'm nuts, but I think let's be low.
I'm okay. I'll say 28 points, right?
Yeah, let's be
29 points. So that's 20 more points,
mm-hmm.
right there. That 20, that's 51 points right there. We've almost met Perron without adding anything.
Well, you're going to have to also, people are going to say, Guy, if you don't take this into account, you've got to replace Bozak. Well, Bozak didn't have a great season.
But Bozak, you're replacing. You replaced Bozak.
Yeah, but I'm
Akari.
That's right, Akari. But he's going to give you about the same amount of points because last year I think he only had 8 or 9 points, but he only played 20 games for Florida last year.
Yeah, I think that Akari is going to. I think Akari could have a career year with the Blues.
I think Akari, his highest total so far, I think is 14 or 15 points. Let me check. Yeah, his highest point total was with Boston in 2018-19 when the Blues won the Cup. He had 14 points. He played 72 games.
Yeah, but you look his minutes per game were only like 9 or 10, 11 or 12.
Well,
he's going to get more. He's going to get more with the Blues.
Believe it or not, in Boston, he averaged 6 minutes a game.
6 minutes a game. 6 minutes a game. He could, those numbers with 6 minutes a game. He's going to double that.
Mm-hmm, like
He's going to double that in St. Louis.
10 minutes. Yep.
Right. He's going to double that in St. Louis. So right there, without adding a player, we've met what we lost with Perron. Does that make sense?
To me, it does.
Let's go over some comments here real quick. Jason Nichols, yes, you did. I'm talking some Moneyball. Why are so many people pissed off about the Thomas 8x8 Lance? I'll let you do that as we're going through some of these comments.
I don't get it because the man is, in my mind, one of the top 2 or 3 best young players, especially centers in the league right now. And you've got to tie guys up like that. If you give him, let's say the Blues would have said, okay, you're an RFA. We're going to give you $4.5 million. We don't have to, but we're going to give you $4.5 million for 2 or 3 more years. Let's say he blows it up and he becomes the best center in the league. Blues aren't going to be able to sign him after those 2 to 3 years. Thomas was nice enough to say, okay, I want to make good money. I don't want to kill your cap. I want you to still be able to get people. And let's, maybe in 4 years, I could get 10, 11 million. Let's do 8 now. I'll do 8 years. That way I'm here with you. I know I'm here. I'm committed. I don't get it either. There's all this hate for Armstrong and Thomas. I don't get it.
Because they're looking at the money and they're assuming that money is money that kicked Perron out.
Oh, yeah, they
right?
are. It's not.
No, that's what a lot of them are assuming.
It's not.
Right? And a lot of people have no idea or understanding of the salary cap.
No, and a lot of people.
I understand it.
Yeah, a lot of people think that he's going to be making $8 million immediately. That he's going to the cap.
It doesn't happen until next year. The guy's only making 2.8 this year.
Yeah. So guys,
that's all he's costing us.
You know what? Thomas didn't have to do it. I'm going to tell you one thing. Did Matthew Tkachuk do that for Calgary? Say I want to sign 8 years here? No, he didn't.
He hasn't even signed yet.
No, his last contract, he was wanting $8 million, $9 million last time, and what are they getting for 7, something like that, 6 or maybe a little bit less than that. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
Anyway, I told him last night when he was saying stuff like that Thomas Greiss is better than Patrick Waugh, so I just give it back to him.
He likes throwing that.
Yeah, he is injury prone. He is injury prone. He is.
Yeah. So Robert Morton said something here, and it's kind of, and I don't know if he's being facetious or not. He says you two just need to accept that others are morons. And I used to defend a lot of those people, but it's ridiculous. You guys are awesome. I don't know how awesome we are.
I appreciate
He says you
that,
can also make up those goals by playing better defensively.
That's exactly
Great
right.
point.
But Guy, because they signed Leddy, they couldn't go out and get Perron. Here's the deal, guys. The Blues were looking at other options for defense, a cheaper defenseman, because they wanted to sign Perron. They made Perron the offer. Stop making Armstrong out to be the bad guy. Perron made the decision to get a little more money in Detroit. Armstrong could do nothing about it. And once he knew that was going to happen, he went in different directions.
Well, look at, and I've heard this, Leddy's a journeyman. I don't think Leddy's a journeyman. I think he's above a journeyman.
Yeah, he's a top 4 defenseman. That's not a journeyman.
Yeah, right. And the other thing here, here's the deal, guy. You heard me say this time and time again. I give you the benefit of the doubt to a guy who's been in hockey his whole life. Okay, well, who are you talking about there? I'm not sure.
You talking about me or?
Yeah.
But
who are you talking about? I think I just want to make sure because I'm not 100% sure he's talking about.
I will tell you this. I see a comment by somebody who's, let's say, played hockey since they were 6, and they're even if they're 20s. I take their opinions much better to light and respect them more than somebody
Army
who's been a fan.
Army. Okay.
And Doug Armstrong's made some mistakes. Has he done some great things? Yes, he's done some great things, and he made some mistakes. But this year, guys, stop like the sky is falling. Stop saying, I thought there's a certain podcast out there that says I was praising Armstrong during the season, and now I don't know if I can praise him anymore. Come on, guys.
No, I think he made the right moves.
He did what he had to do.
Look, there's a number. I read this number earlier, and it leaped off the page at me, right? Do you know what the Blues record was in games where they won or they scored 3 goals or less?
Oh, it was terrible.
It was like 9, 17, and 11 or something like that. I wrote an article about it.
Terrible.
Right? I wrote an article about it on Inside the Rink, and I don't have it up. I don't have it right up on me. Maybe I can find it here. No, wrong website. Too much going on, but the number was junk.
Mm-hmm.
The Blues are an offensive team. Oh my God, did I just say that? Did I just say the Blues, under Berube are an offensive team? Abso-freaking-lutely I did, because they are. In the playoffs. In the playoffs.
Yeah.
How many games did they win when they scored 3 goals or less?
I don't think they won any. If I'm not mistaken, 0.
Goose egg.
Yeah.
Goose freaking egg. This was not a defensive team. You needed more work on defense than you did on offense. $4 million. $4 million. What defenseman was out there that was better than Leddy at $4 million? I can't find one. Leddy was a $5.5 million player.
Guy, I asked the same question about these people complaining about Scandella. You let me know what other defenseman with the experience he has and who's very good when he's not injured, who you could get for $3.2 million. Let me know, and let's go get him.
Yeah,
let's go. Nobody could respond to me.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing, and look, I get whatever. I understand why you guys are on Scandella. I get it. Okay, I get it. It's not to say that I see the same things you see, but I get it. Josh Manson, 4.25. Not better than Leddy.
No. Nope.
No, I don't think so, Redbeard. Nope. You know what, Redbeard? I give you credit. You guys, I'll say this. Colorado had a good free agent day. They could have done a lot worse. They had a good free agent day. Matt says it goes to his 300 goal comment earlier. I might have missed that, Matt. I was talking and missed. Perron is 34 and basically a power play specialist at this point in his career. I would give that. Yeah, it does have something to do with him being a fan favorite. Brown, Walker, and Kostin are not going to get that many games, especially when Torpachenko comes back. Well, when Torpachenko gets a full season, I see Torpachenko being a lot more offensive than he was before.
Well, here's the thing. Torpachenko is being touted to be back towards the middle to end of December. What if he's not? Okay. And guys, I'm going to tell you something about the injury that he got. He's not going to come back flying out of the gate. He's not going to be in game shape. It's going to take him a good month to get back into game shape. So, the Blues cannot rely on him. They cannot think, oh, we're getting him back. That's like acquiring somebody. You cannot think that way. I don't care what anybody says. You cannot think that way.
He's starting the season on LTIR. He's not on the Blues roster as of the moment.
They're not even thinking about him.
Right? People watch too much basketball thinking they can have a team full of all-stars. And that's partially it. It is partially it. Yeah. By the way, thank you to Glenn Cray. I've never seen Glenn before, but thank you for putting your thumb in the air. If you're watching me on Facebook, please put those thumbs in the air. Let us know that you care. Do it on YouTube too. I can't mention your name because I don't get to see you, but I feel you. And Redbeard, look, dude, I got to tell you, I love how enthusiastic you are about the Avalanche. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's nice to know that there's more than 10 of you. Okay, maybe there's 20 of you, but that's fine. But I'm not going to sit there. I will tell you when I think when I see something the right way and when I see something the wrong way. Did the Avalanche have a good free agency day? Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. I thought
Are they still a bunch of punks? Yes, they are. I know Lance isn't going to say that, but even without Kadri, they're still a bunch of punks. They didn't get better. Well, they didn't get better in the goalie front. I don't think they did.
And I don't think they got better roster-wise. I think I think they're still going to be good. Are they going to win the Central? I don't see them winning the Central.
No, I don't.
Don't.
Right? I don't. And even if I took my Blues, every ounce of Blues fanhood I had, and I put on a Blackhawks hat, I would still pick the Blues to win that division. Right? Because I'm telling you, I think that you look at the division right now, there's nobody that's sitting prettier than they are.
Yeah, and everybody's like, I keep seeing all these other podcasts, and everybody's saying the Blues are 10 times worse this year after the free agent day than they were last year. How do you figure that out?
Not even close.
Okay,
the loss of Perron, you can make the goals up with guys you have playing more.
And I'm going to tell you, like I tell people, stop dissing on Thomas Greiss. Thomas Greiss, when he has a good team, even a decent team in front of him, he's a 2.4 to 2.6 goals a game against guy in a 915, 920 save percentage. I'm going to tell you right now, Jordan Bennington on Detroit, he wouldn't be the goalie he is. He'd be better than Thomas Greiss was, but he wouldn't be the goalie he is.
I mean, just look at Philip Grubauer.
Yeah.
Look at how he did. Look at freaking Fleury when he was in Chicago. I mean, good goalies on bad teams don't look good.
Look at Kemper when Kemper was in Arizona. Did he look great in Arizona?
Oh,
no. He looked good, but not great.
Yeah, no. I just think that.
Oh, nice to see you.
First of all, I seen an article from the Hockey Writers, and I usually I try and stay away from most websites that I consider the writer to just be writing to write, not to have something to say
or to have knowledge.
And look, and I know this person somewhat. I've talked to him before. The article was well written, but it made no sense because he twisted things to be his. To reach his goal, and he said the Thomas Greiss signing didn't make any sense.
I read it.
Dude, the Thomas Greiss signing made every ounce of sense you can think of.
And Guy, the way they did it was signing him to a minor league contract and then converted him to a professional, an NHL contract. That was perfect. They had to do it that way.
No, it works. It works because the money doesn't hurt, and you can also send him down now.
Mm-hmm.
You can send him down without putting him on waivers. I don't know, 35 plus.
Yep. And if
Hoffer 35 plus, he can go down without waivers.
If Hoffer lights up the Thunderbirds down there and Doug goes, hey, Greiss isn't doing too great, he can bring up Hoffer, send Greiss down. They don't lose Greiss. He's still there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Right? No. So here's the thing. So let's talk about why Greiss makes sense. Now, you got to remember, there's more than just the Greiss signing. Again, this is what I talk about all the time, the surface. Everybody wants to look at the surface, right? And sorry if I'm not reading your comments. I'm talking about this right now. Everybody wants to look at the surface. And on the surface, I said this yesterday, that signing didn't make a bit of sense. However, once you dig under it, Lindgren was offered a 1-year, $1.5 million one-way contract. He turned it down. Okay. Then you go, well, if he turned it down, why not offer him 2 years or 3 years with less money like Washington did? Because Washington doesn't have a prospect that is almost NHL ready. Almost NHL ready. Joel Hofer is and I read an article that Jim Thomas put out today saying that he's maybe 1 year away, if not less.
I personally think he's less, but
okay. Well, I mean, but that's what, if you're signing for a full year, you're thinking that Hoffer's 1 year. Yep. If you're not going to take a guy for 2 years, you figure in that second year, Hoffer's going to be your backup, right? So Hoffer's going to be your backup.
I read your comments, Rob. I put them up.
No, I do read comments. I'm just saying when they come up now because I didn't want to get off of what I was talking about.
He's on a tangent, guys. I'll just display him, and you can pretend he read them.
Yeah, okay. So you take that. First of all, Lindgren was gone. Lindgren was not staying. Lindgren's little bitty 5-game and his time in the AHL, helping them get to the finals, he had offers. He had offers that for longer term and to be a backup for a longer period of time with the hopes of being a 1A. I don't think he's a 1A, but he could. That's the hopes, right?
In his mind.
In his mind,
right.
He's a 1A, yep.
So there, he's gone. Now, you have Hoffer, Ellis, and the Russian. The problem with the Russian is you don't know about. You have to take this into consideration. I know we don't want to talk politics, and I get it, but you have to take into consideration what's been happening with Russian players.
I'm like Shaggy.
Right?
I'm not even going to think about it because something will happen and it'll get worked out.
But until it does,
I know, but I don't think about that.
No, until it does, you cannot count on these guys. You have to take some assumption that your younger guys are not going to be able to come back. Right? I mean, everyone looks at you. You look at Krill, and I can't say his name, Kaprizov, right?
Kaprizov, whatever.
Kaprizov. And you go, oh, well, look at that big old guy. He's still only 22 years old, right? He's still young. He's not Tereshchenko, who's 30. Tereshchenko is not getting pulled in. The goalie we have is 19 or 20. There is a chance that Russia could pull him into military service. You have to take that into consideration. You know Ellis isn't ready. He hasn't had any AHL time yet. Offer, you think he's close. But you'd like to get him a little more salt and pepper. Maybe some basil and some oregano.
I prefer allspice.
What?
I prefer allspice. It gets
allspice, well, that works too. A little bit of Mrs. Dash, right? So shake some Mrs. Dash on him. Well, if that's the case, if he needs some Mrs. Dash, which I'm okay with, what steak is out there that doesn't? Well, got Thomas Grice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Grice, who was on a bad team and put up semi-decent numbers. Now, he's a little bit older, and I get that. Okay, I'm wrong on Krill. He's a little okay, but he's still in that zone of being pulled in for military service. Right? I can see that. These 50% of the Blues fans are worse than Toronto media freaking out that us won game. Oh my goodness, Bob! I'm in that same. I get you, man. I get you, right? And I probably right. I'm hoping that I didn't piss off guy from and now from Let's Go Blues because I love the group and they supported me from the beginning. But Doug Shelton, I hope I didn't piss Doug off. But I had to, say what I wanted to say. I think it was, I had to put it out there in my point of view in a way that wasn't condescending to somebody else and based on what I know. That Grice was the best 1-year option available, I think.
I think so.
And to get him for $1.1 million to back up a good team, and this guy, especially if this guy plays against some of the lower end teams, right? Our record against lower end teams, everyone thinks was horrible when it wasn't. But imagine winning. Here's the thing: it's the 1-goal games. We had 11 overtime losses. Right? We scored 3 goals or less. Imagine if we could turn those around.
Well, I can tell you one thing: the difference.
Turn 5 of them around. Turn 5 of those around, and turn 5 of those games around, and you're in second place.
And the difference between Husso and Grice has got a lot more experience, and he doesn't give up 1 goal on every first shot of the game like Husso was doing a lot last year.
Well, last year he didn't do it. It was the year before, and then the playoffs. During the regular season, he stopped doing that. I will say that.
He did that towards the end a couple times, towards the end of the year.
Yeah, well, he did against He did it against the Knights, but at that the last game of the season, it didn't matter anymore. Right? It was done by then. Right?
Sorry.
What's Dante saying here? And asides what I said about Leddy could score 40. No, I still believe Leddy could score 40. I really do. Right? I think Vladdy is just short of a 100-point player. I really do. Right? I think Perron being gone opens up some options for Tereshchenko that weren't there before. Right? This may be addition by subtraction. It may be. I think that Armstrong is, I'm sorry, he's playing Moneyball.
I don't disagree with that, but I think you're getting too hyped up about what Tarasenko can do without Perron there.
Not yet. I'm just saying that I think you don't think Tarasenko can be a 100-point player?
No.
I mean, he just scored 82 in 77 games?
Yeah, that's great, but it's also, will he stay healthy? Will he, because it's not even just the shoulder. He has been known to, to have little injuries here and there. Yeah. It depends on a lot of things. I don't see him getting more than what he did last season.
Well, possible, right? Matt Lowe says, I think Thomas and Kyrou can be 100-point players. I'm pretty sure Thomas can. Vladdy getting there is a little crazy. I don't think so. Right? Vladdy's still got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, too. And that's what I like.
Yeah, but it isn't going to be as big as it was last season. Last season, he had something to prove.
It may not be as
big. It lit a fire under his butt, but he isn't going to be able to maintain that.
I don't know. I disagree.
Okay, I love Leddy. Not bashing him, but I don't think we're going to get 100 points out of him. I think your 82 season is going to be his season high whenever you look at it at the end of his career.
Possible. I'm not giving up. I'll agree. I'll say possible. Okay. Aaron Coulter says people just need to get over the backup goalie signing because it just makes sense because Hofer can get the experience he needs in the AHL. That's what I've been talking about. That's exactly what I've been talking about. I mean, and Tammy. Oh, I'm waiting for the time I get Tammy mad at me. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm sure I make everybody else mad, so it's coming.
Oh, hush.
No, I'm still sitting here going, how can you not see? Maybe it's my under the surface stuff, but how can you not see how good yesterday was for the Blues? Right? I mean, to me, it just sung out. Way to go. Making the best of what you had. Oh, and then today, Walker gets signed. And Prunovich gets signed. I haven't seen their contracts yet.
I just want to say one thing. I want to say one thing about Leddy. One more thing.
Yeah, go. No. Hey, we got the whole time to talk about.
Now, when Falk came in, everybody hated him because he couldn't fit into Brube's system. He wasn't good. He didn't know it. And I said, guys, wait till next year. Brube's system takes a little bit for defensemen to learn. Next year, he was great, just awesome. And Krug the same way. I said the same thing about Krug.
So did I.
I'm telling you, Leddy will be even better than he was than the end of the last year when he came to the Blues. Is it going to be huge at the beginning of the year? No, but I think by the end of the year, he's going to know the system and he's going to make people shut their mouths about him.
I think he's going to know the system by the beginning of the year.
I like Leddy. I'm not mad about us signing Leddy. I was actually really pleasantly surprised that we were able to pull it out. I mean, I'm not saying that the decision to let Perron go was bad. I'm just sad.
Well, it wasn't a decision to let him go. The decision was the Blues made the offer to him and Detroit made a better offer. And Perron said, hey, I can stay in St. Louis and make this and finish my career, or I can go to Detroit and make this. And Perron made that decision. He wasn't forced to make it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So they got Leddy. They got Prunovich at league minimum.
Yeah.
Right? So they have just over $1 million left for Mikkola. That concerns me. Right? I'm thinking that they're going to have to send somebody down to have that money to sign Mikola. Right? They got there's Josh Laville that they signed today also, but I think that well, you know what? His 750 they've got it on the NHL, but he signed a two-way.
Yeah.
So once they send him down, his money comes off.
Yeah, and all those other
So
signings,
they've got really close to $2 million to sign.
Yeah, all those other players that they signed today, those are all guys that are going to be in the AHL. Most of them.
Yeah.
Besides Walker,
right? Everyone was
Cernovich.
signed to two ways mainly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. They were majority of them were signed to two ways.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at this right now. You know, just kind of. I think you take him off. So right now, you take this Josh kid off. Or he's 29, but I know he signed a two-way. So you put him in the minors. So that puts us at 1.75 for Mikola, and Mikola was supposed to get maybe 1.25, right? I think unless Mikola wants to extend, if I'm Mikola, I take maybe a 2-year to get him to his free agency. You know, he can take 2 years. I think he can take 2 years to get to free agency. Where's Mikola? Oh no, Mikola's 26, so he can be in UFA next year, right? I take the 1 year. I just take a 1 year deal. Whatever the Blues are off, and take it and bet on yourself and go out there and have that game you need to have to win you a contract next year.
Hey Matt, no, will not make this roster. No.
Who?
Will Bitten.
Yeah, Bitten's still AHL guy.
He's AHL for now.
Right. Who was talking about Bitten?
Matt
Lowe.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's going to come up. I mean, he's going to be in training camp, but
he'll be in training camp. He ain't making the roster.
Right.
The only way he's coming up is if they have several injuries. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. He's still too young to
well,
get
after last season, I know that we can have several injuries, so there's a possibility, but I don't think it'll be long term if he's up.
He did have a good post. Matt Lowe, you are right. He did have a good postseason with Springfield. Also, so I'll tell you what. You know who I'm really, really looking forward to their Springfield season? Matt Kessel. Right? I want to see what Matt Kessel can do with a full year in the AHL. I like what he's got. You got to remember, this guy was the highest scoring defenseman in the NCAA this year. Highest scoring defenseman in the NCAA. Also the highest scoring defenseman in the tournament. He's just scored. He only scored one goal. He scored one goal during the playoffs, during the finals. But you look at where he's at right now, and I think that this is a guy 2-3 years away. He could be the guy that replaces Ashley's favorite player for less money. I can't think of his name right now. The one everybody hates.
He's going to go to college and then go to the AHL.
He's back. He's on us. He's on us.
No, he ain't.
He signed his entry level with us.
He ain't, like I said, the AHL. He's not coming here for quite a while.
2 years, I think.
I think 3 years, because I'm going to tell you something. There's a huge difference between college, the AHL, and then the NHL. And
he's going to be the guy that replaces Scandella.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be the guy that replaces Scandella. There's something about him. There's something about his game that just, when I watched it, started, I started going, I like that. I like that. Ooh.
Yeah, because
I see what he's doing.
Because in college, 75 to 90% of the players will never sniff the AHL.
No, I'm talking about in the AHL playoffs.
He was okay.
Right? There were flashes. There were flashes of brilliance.
There's a lot of guys that have brilliant AHL careers that never make the NHL.
I get it. But there's just something that tells me that this guy he's got it.
I hope you're right.
It needs to be tweaked. Right?
Scandella is probably not going anywhere.
Well, what I'm saying is Scandella has 2 years left on his contract. And Scandella's contract is up. Kessel is taking Scandella's place. All right. There you go, Lance. That one's for you.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate your highly educated input.
I guess I missed where this whole joke about everybody being better than Bobby Orr is.
He just started that with
He
started that with me, and he does it like I told him the other day. I said Thomas Grice is better than Patrick Waugh.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Look, guys, I am happy for what the Blues have done. What I think is really interesting, I want to talk NHL over the free agents that are still out there, right? There's a few out there that are head shakers, head scratchers. The way everybody was talking coming into free agency. Who would have thought Kadri, with the way everybody talked about Kadri coming into free agency, would have been.
Well,
right?
I'm going to tell you
Kadri
that
this, Kadri that, Kadri this, Kadri that.
That's all the announcers and that's all the commentators. But I will tell you, teams know him. Teams know who he is. Teams know what they get with him. They get the bad with some of the good. And some teams do not want to go down that road with him. They don't want to be that kind of team that has that type of guy on their team.
Even if they're willing, he's asking for way too much money.
Yeah, that's one thing. There's teams that have talked to him. He still wants $7-8 million a year, and he's not getting it.
I thought it was closer to 9 that he was asking.
No,
for.
He wanted that 9 to 10 range.
Yeah, and he's not worth that.
He wanted Johnny Hockey money.
What's he smoking? That's my question.
Yeah. So here's some of the names that are still out there.
I'm shocked about Stasny. Stasny's still out there.
All right. Well, damn. Will you give me a moment?
No.
Nope. You take too long.
Well, that's my. Okay. I almost said something I promised I would never say. PK Subban is still out there. Yes, I know he's old. Yes, I know people look at him, but he's still. I think he's still got a lot gas in the tank, and I'm pretty sure someone's going to go after him.
He's running.
Mr. Hot Dog, Phil Kessel is still out there. Parise Bergeron is still out there. Though Bergeron's not as surprising to me because I think that he's going to re-sign with
Boston.
Right? Louis Eriksson is still out there. Anton Sturkman is still out there. Nino Niedermeyer is still out there. Niedermeyer might be, somebody will pick him up. Kadri, the number 9 overall, is still out there. Stastny's out there. Will Butcher's out there. Chris Terry's out there. Brett Conley's out there. There's guys out there that in that money. Oh, I got a story to tell you. Michael Del Zotto's still out there. Right. And I know we've had Michael Del Zotto and we all know this. I'm in a I've talked about my fantasy league, right? Right before free agency, the guy that has the Colorado Avalanche put out, anybody willing to give me a pick or two, a pick for Del Zotto? And I responded with, let me translate. Here's a guy that just got cut by his team and probably won't get signed by another team. But you can have him if you give me a pick. I'm gonna wait until Saturday. I'm gonna wait the weekend, and if he doesn't get picked up, I'm gonna ask him how hey, what about Del Zotto? He said, oh, somebody's gonna sign Del Zotto. Del Zotto's still out there, right? I mean that was I had to call him out for that one. I really did, Oh, I got Del Zotto. He's great. You wanted something for him? No. I talk too slow now.
That's what I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, he did play more. Did he play more than 5 games? I think he did. I think he did. I think he had more than. Did he win? Was he honest when he won the cup?
He had more than 5 games. He had more than 5 games with us.
Oh, there's not a statue put up yet.
I'm sure the fans will want it there.
Oh, everybody's just giving me crap. I love it. That's what makes this show so much fun. You guys all make it fun. You really, really, really do. free agency was amazing. I really think it was. And now, yesterday, we were all like questioning the Columbus signing of Joe, but now that some more stuff has come out, Johnny made the right decision. I think he lucked into a very solid place, right? His wife works at a hospital in Columbus. In pediatric, she works with pediatric cancer, right? So she works at she's going to work at a children's hospital there. He's only an hour from his dad in Philly, an hour flight, right? And you know, when you think of it, you know, it's not that much. And when you're making $9 million a year, having you know, one of those, what's that, WestJet or GoldJet or whatever it is, you know, the private jet company that you can rent out. You know what I'm talking about?
There's a bunch of them out there.
Yeah, but I'm sure that you can have one of those that's just ready to go, and you know, something like that. So I think that in the overall scheme of things, this is a decision he made for his family. Does he want to win? I think he does. But I think he made a decision for his family that is going to be best. And I don't think that he hurt Columbus by doing this. I don't think his $9 million hurts Columbus, because he was probably a $10 to $12 million player. Right? And the one thing that the article that I wrote said, our players started figuring out that what they thought they were worth and what they were worth were two different things because of the cap. Same thing I was saying, right? It was gonna come to that sooner.
You mean
or
like
later.
Perron's agent before free agency started said he was seeking $6 million a year, and you and I said he's not going to get that.
Oh yeah. No, I'm with you. I saw that too. I didn't see him at being at 6, not at his age, right?
If he was 30, maybe.
Yeah, if he was younger, yeah. You know, if he was younger, I'd say sign him. I'd take him over Leddy in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Right? Leddy's what, 32, I think?
31 or 32.
31 or 32. And you got him for 4 years up to the 36 point, where Perron's at 36. You would have Perron
Perron's 34.
Perron's 34. He'll be 35 in December or something like that, I think.
Okay, so 34.
He'll be 35 by the end of next season.
Yeah, so you're looking, you would have had Perron in his 35, 36 age year. I don't know. I'm think
I'm gonna tell you right now. I know for a fact that Doug Armstrong learned his lesson, like I brought up last night with Alex Steen, and he's told people internally he will never make that mistake again with a guy that's 33 years and older. He just will not do it.
I don't think Steen was as much of a mistake.
I do, because if you watched him, you saw glimpses of him starting to decline when he signed that contract. And then I know he was injured his last year and a half. I understand that. But a year and a half before that, I really saw him decline. Did he play good in the Stanley Cup run? Yes. He was on that fourth line, and that fourth line was one of the big reasons why they won the Cup, and I'll give him all the credit in the world. But the rest of the season...
That right there is why I'm okay with the contract.
Well, if I was him, I said when it happened, I would have given him 3 to 4 years. I wouldn't have given him 6.
Yeah, well, I'll take, but as long as he would have played on 19 on that fourth, because you got to admit, Berube did something during the Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't think any other coaches ever.
Well, he would have played if he'd have given him a 4-year contract. He would have played on that team. That would have been his last year.
Yeah. Okay. He started that fourth line in every single Stanley Cup Finals game.
Mm-hmm.
He started him. Fourth line against first line. Okay, put out your first line. I'm put out my fourth line. And I think that at some point that really got in Boston's head.
Not just Boston. He did it with the Stars too.
Yeah, he played well against the Stars. Yeah, he played well against the Stars too.
No, did he start the fourth line against the Stars?
I thought he did. Yeah, I thought he did.
Well, I know he did it against Boston. I didn't know. I didn't remember. I didn't think he did it every game against the Stars. I think he did it a couple of games.
He did it. He definitely did it against San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, but it worked.
He was great. And
it
was awesome.
Getting some guys' head.
He was awesome.
I will. Of all that run, the picture in my mind that I will never forget is Game 5 and Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Looking at San Jose's bench in the third period, and there's nobody on it.
Yep.
You could have laid down and not touched a player. That's how decimated their bench was.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's where the dirty St. Louis Blues players started coming out. That's the first time. And I did look, Petrangelo's hit. I do think he got his elbow up there a little high.
Yeah, it was up a little high. Yeah.
Right. Was it an intentional elbow? I don't know. But, should he have gotten a 5-minute major in a match for it? Probably. He probably should have. I will say that. The more I looked at the play, the more I thought about it. Talked to my buddy from the San Jose Sharks podcast. I can't think of his name now. I'm okay there. Right. He probably should have gotten that penalty. I'll be on that. But overall, I like what we saw. Now, let's just real quick. If you had to today pick the Central Division based on where free agency is and all of that, who's your bottom team in the Central Division? Who's your bottom two teams?
Phoenix and Chicago.
Ashley?
Same.
I think right now I say Chicago and Detroit.
Detroit's not in the Central.
Detroit, Dallas. Chicago and Dallas.
I don't think Dallas would be bad.
You don't think Dallas? You think Dallas got better?
I don't know if they got better, but they're just as good as they were. Yeah, they're just as good as they were last year.
I think Arizona's going to have a better season. And I said this last year, so that meant, what did I know then?
And
I think that stadium's going to help more than it's going to hurt.
Yeah, but Guy, here's the thing. I know it's only 5,000 seats, but how many people have $180 to $300 for a cheap seat for season tickets? They're outrageously priced. I mean, they're 2 to 3 times what the Blues are.
I get it.
I know it may be filled up.
They're going to sell it out. They're going to sell that building out.
I played in front of probably
sell that building out.
It doesn't matter. That building isn't going to be big enough.
I played in front of probably almost 4,000 people, the most people I played in front of. Okay, and I didn't care. I really didn't. And maybe that's just me as a goalie. Maybe goalies don't notice that stuff as much. But I played the same, whether it was 25 people, 800 people, 200 people, 1,500 people. And you might be right. I mean, because they've not been able to have that environment. But I think for a lot of the players, I don't know if it's going to make a difference that way. They're going to have to be talented enough. It's not going to be just the fans that's going to make them a better team.
I get that, but there's an X factor there. And I understand that. I think the X factor is going to help them. I think they're going to be better this year than they were last year.
Okay, really they might win one more game than they did last year, but they're not going to be a good team.
Guys, she got you. That they would be better then if it's one more game.
So who's your top 3? Who's your top 3 in the division?
Oh God!
And I mean, you got to give me 1, 2, 3. You can go 3, 2, 1 if you want. Anybody?
Blues, Colorado Wild.
Blues,
Colorado Wild, Winnipeg.
I could see that.
If
Ashley?
the Blues are your one, then I'm with you. If that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with them 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually. I was originally Blues, Winnipeg, Wild, Colorado, but Colorado had a better day, so I can see. I think I would have to switch
the Wild
and Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg, to me, Winnipeg is interesting in that they made some, and they've got a good coach. They've got some. I mean, I know they say he's not a good coach. I think with young players like that and with some of the experience he has, I don't know. I think that this is a team that if they use Hellebuyck right, they're going to gel and be much better, right? I do think Dallas and Nashville both took heavy steps backwards, right? I can see Arizona leapfrogging one of those two teams. I really can. I just do.
Well,
I don't know.
If there's going to be a surprise team out of Chicago and Phoenix, let's just say that, who would be your surprise team? It would have to be Phoenix, because I think Chicago, like Wendy said the other day, they don't know what they're doing. They just want to put a product on the ice. They don't care if they win. They know they're going to get some fans in there, and that's all they care about. So if there is a team that could surprise people, it might be the Arizona Coyotes.
Oh, have you seen now? That's something else I wanted to talk about real quick. Have you seen the tweet that came out about the Knights?
Which one was that? Because I seen a couple.
There was
today.
one that came out today, and I don't know where it's at, but basically, I think I saw it on Facebook. There are players coming out and saying that they would not sign with the Knights because of their management.
I believe it.
That their management is so bad that they don't know what they're doing. That they're just bottom lining it.
Mm-hmm. And I keep seeing all over Facebook of Vegas fans and Twitter that Pacioretty's not going to be missed. I know he was hurt sometimes. He will be missed.
Yeah,
Trust me, guys. You will miss Max Pacioretty.
They're going to miss a lot of people. They are the team that is going to. They are going to probably be in last place in that division. Right? If they're higher than 7th, I would be surprised. Right? Now, the team out west that are in the Pacific that I like the most is going to shock people. So I'll wait on that. But who's your Pacific? What do you got in the Pacific right now, Lance? Based on everything that's happened.
I said last year the Kings are going to be a good team and they're going to continue to get better. They got a great coach. He knows how to win games. He knows how to deal with young players. He has a good mix of veterans still there, but the young guys are coming up. They still got Jonathan Quick. Is he the goalie he was 4 years ago? No, but he's still a pretty dang good goalie at his age. So I think the Kings are going to be the big Chiefs of the Pacific Division.
Ashley?
I don't really pay as much attention to the Pacific as I should, but I mean, I like the Kings. I think that the Ducks have potential to do better, this coming season. But hold on. I want to make sure I'm right on.
Oh, I thought maybe one of your daughters whispered in your ear that she farted. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, that was yesterday, and she probably would, but I mean,
I like that her daughters like the show. I'm just happy they like the show.
They will watch it just so that they can come and make fun of me. I really like what the Canucks are going to do, though, so I'm going to go with
Damn it, Ashley!
You ruined it for him. You stole his thunder.
I like what the Canucks have done.
That would be my second team. So
no, absolutely. I think Bruce Boudreau proved something to the players that were on the team and the management that yes, this team that we have is not that far away. And they made some moves. They made some very good moves that could bring them up. The Sharks, I still think the Sharks are one of them teams that's not going to be there.
They got rid of Burns, and Ericsson's still there, but man, he's one hit away from being a career over, one ankle injury away.
Yeah.
If they make the playoffs, I will be the most shocked person in the world.
I don't see them. I see them being in that 7th spot.
I really like Thomas Hertl. I really like him as a player. I think he's very good. And they've got Logan Couture. I think he's still a viable player, but man, I think they're going to be like they were last year.
Right. Calgary, unfortunately, took a little bit of a step backwards with losing Gaudreau. They can make it up. Look, I know 100 points is hard to miss. They have guys that can do things and help that. They still got depending on what they do with Tkachuk, and that's the huge one. And I'm looking at right now. They don't have Tkachuk. He's an RFA, but he ain't signed anything yet. And if you remember last season, Brady didn't go to training camp until the second week. Brady held out, and basically, he told me he was. Right? I asked him are you excited about training camp? He says, maybe when I get there.
A lot of guys today are in such good shape. If they've been with the team for a couple of years, like Brady has, they don't need the first week or two of training camp. Now, coaches are going to disagree with me. But a lot of these guys, they know how to keep in shape. And yes, game shape is different. They can get in game shape in a couple of weeks.
Well,
that's all they need.
I was out at Centene almost every day, and every 3 days, 3 days, 3 days a week, they're out there with Jamie Rivers. They paying, and Jamie, telling me this, they're paying customers.
Yeah.
Right. This isn't just him. They're paying for ice time. They're paying Jamie to coach them, and Jamie has drills set up. The one where Matthew gets, puts a stick behind his back, behind his legs and flips it up. Jamie had him practicing that. I watched them in a private practice that move. And I was like, damn, I saw that in practice. Practice. Yeah, we're talking about practice.
Practice?
Come on. I got to get a little Allen Iverson in there. Ashley's like, shut up, guy.
I always liked the one coach from Indianapolis and went playoffs.
Yeah,
Who's talking about playoffs?
You know, I always thought that he was on New Orleans. I got.
He did coach New Orleans.
Yeah, see, I
He
thought he
coached
was
New
on
Orleans
New
and
Orleans
Indianapolis.
when he said
Yeah.
that, right? And he was on
Playoff.
yeah, I thought he was on New Orleans when that all came out, right? I'm not sure who this is talking about. Yeah, it was something special.
Nice. Yeah.
And he is a special. He's just both the Kachucks are special players. Now, I want to get this out. There is a fraction of the fan base of the St. Louis fan base that wants one of the Kachuk brothers in St. Louis.
It's more than a fraction.
And they're crazy.
They're crazy.
They're all freaking crazy.
And I'm going to say one thing before you start. Honestly, guys, if you're watching this, ask yourself this question. If Keith Kachuk hadn't played here, would you want Brady or Matthew? 9 out of 10, if you're honest with yourself, you would say
you're
no.
You're making my point for me. The way they want him because they're from here.
If there was a Sutter available, everybody would want Brian Sutter's son. If there was a Federico available,
actually,
there has
been some Sutters available.
Yeah, there has
been. Sutter didn't live here.
No, he didn't.
If Federico lives here, so if Federico had a son, yes, they would have absolutely wanted him.
If Mike Liute, who still lives here, if he had a son, a goalie, the Blues fans would want him. And I don't get it. I know
Liute's still in St. Louis?
Yeah, Liute's still in St. Louis. I thought
you gotta hook me up.
I thought he was still in St. Louis.
If you know Liute, hook me up.
Last time I checked.
Let's get Liute on the show, Lance.
Last time I checked. I've been trying for 5 years.
Well, if you got a contact number, throw it out to me, and we'll see what we can do.
Have you noticed what's not next to my name tonight?
Oh, the drop. You took the drop out. Why'd you take the drop out?
Well, since I'm not doing it, when I start doing it again, I'll put it back in.
Okay, so are you from the fan report now?
Yeah, for a while. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
And then later,
he's our special correspondent.
And then later,
there we go.
And then later, I can be your special guest and special.
Well, you are special. We know that.
Hey, you know what? Radiation today didn't wear me out. I was so happy after having it. I felt good. And the nurse goes, "It's not going to get better, but I'm glad that you feel good today."
Yeah. No, and that's good. That's great. You know, I didn't expect you to be here because you were on a lot yesterday.
Well, I'm going to tell you, in 2 or 3 weeks, if you're having shows, it's probably going to be pretty hard for me to come on.
No, I'm not. I'm going to keep doing shows pretty regularly. I don't want it to. I think I kind of figured something out, right? If I take a hiatus, the numbers drop.
Yeah.
But when I do them regularly.
Yeah, and see that's
even
why
when we have nothing to talk about, just to talk.
Yeah.
We're building that regular audience, and I think that's going to pay off. We've had as much as 25, 30 people watching this show. You know, when I had Tyler on. We had up to almost 30 watching the show, and Tyler didn't tweet it out.
Yeah.
Right. So we are building that base. We're building that fan, and we do have something to talk about every single night. There are different things we can talk about. There are players we can break down. There are teams we can break down. There's so much more that we can do. But at the same time, I want to keep it. I don't want to have an agenda, because I think when you have an agenda, you take away what's important. And when you let the fans semi-run the show, I mean, I stop them sometimes.
Well, I've always believed that you can't script a show. Can you have some topics you want to talk about? Like when I interview Grant and some other NHL players, like
bulletins. You got some bulletins.
I've got some points that I want to go over with them, and I send it to them. I don't go, let's talk about this when you were in Edmonton. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about, like Pavel Dimitra. I didn't say, let's talk about your time in Russia. Let's talk about your dad. I just put down, let's talk about your time in the NHL, coming from Russia. You know, you got to have, sometimes with the guests, you got to have that. But a show like this, it's better to go in and just bring topics up.
Right. Shockey was at practice today at the what do you call it? Prospects camp.
Is that what we're gonna call him? Is Snuggie?
Snugard. No, I think Snugard. I think that was a good pick. I think they got. I mean, I know I saw him anywhere from 20 to 30 or 20 to 40. I think I seen him as low as 40.
There were people that had him rated 18 up to like 50 or 60. Some people had him. I had him like 2 spots lower is where I had him at 25.
I think that they got him at the right spot.
But the Blues took him because he was the best available player. He was not the player they wanted at that spot. He wasn't.
No, the player they wanted went 2 spots higher.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? I think they wanted the Russian guy that was supposed to be like Tereshchenko.
Yep.
Right. However, I don't know if they got the green light for that. Because there were teams out there that were basically said we will not draft a Russian player this year.
There were a couple, yeah.
Right, more than a couple. It was actually a lot. That's why they I talked to an agent and he told me that there a lot of teams told him that that had contacted him and say, yeah, we were originally interested in your players, but we're not now. And it is the political situation.
You had Chaser on the show? I didn't know that.
No, I'm still waiting to get Chase.
So then he must mean Twist.
Yeah, Twist. Twist was the guy I had on.
I was going to say, you interviewed Chase without me?
No. That was Tony Twist. That was, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Twist. I wish you guys could have heard the stuff off the air.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. You think he was candid on the air? Actually, I got red off the air with some of the things that he said.
Yes, you, I think, were more embarrassed by what he was saying than I was. I was just laughing about it.
Right? He was talking about his coconuts off the air.
Yeah, I learned a whole lot about Tony Twist that I never expected.
I've spent about 5 minutes with him at a Blues game, and I was up in the suites, and he was there, and he talked to me, and 5 minutes, and I'm like, this guy's funnier than hell. I mean, his stories are great. And you know what? He's honest. He doesn't pull punches. He's so brutally honest. And I love that about people. Some people didn't like that about Brett Hall. When I met Brett and spent a couple hours with him at Grant's thing here at Fox Sports Midwest, damn, I loved him. The most honest guy you'd ever want to meet.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I
honest
would love
and
to be
blunt.
With,
I love
yeah,
when
that's my be honest. If you had the Mount Rushmore of players, right? Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr, Wayne Gretzky, Brett Hull, and put somebody else out there.
Mario Lemieux.
Mario
Lemieux. And you said to me, you can interview any one of those, but that's all you're going to get. One. You will not get a chance to have the other ones.
Brett Hull.
Get one. I'm still taking Hull.
It would be hard for me because Gordie Howe was kind of that way, very honest.
Yeah, I get it.
It would either be Howe or Hull. That would be hard, especially since I've already met Brett and talked to him.
Yeah.
If maybe I hadn't, I would be leaning more towards Brett, but that would be a tough decision with me, Brett or Gordie. Those would be my two.
Yeah, no, it would be, I would, as much as I would.
And I love Wayne.
To have that time to talk to Gordie.
Yep.
And believe it or not, I've already been told if he was still alive, he'd have been on the show.
Probably would have, yeah.
Right? I think you know who told me that.
I have an idea.
Yeah. I think you know who I'm talking about too. We've interviewed this person a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I still would rather have Hull. And I know who Mr. Hockey is. I know everything about him. I know what he did. But everything that Hull that Gordie Howe did for hockey, Brett Hull did for St. Louis in a very outwardly way, right? Mm-hmm. And to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, because I know that kind of doesn't make sense. Well, didn't Gordie Howe do it for all of hockey and Brett Hull just did? Brett Hull took a city that was on the verge of losing their team. Nobody wanted to own it. Harry Orness bought it to make a profit off it, and that's exactly what he did. 3 years, he tripled his money, and he was gone. Adios, amigo. Cut costs, did all that stuff. He was gone. The Blues never got good ownership that understood both sides of the game, the business and that. Brett Hull came to St. Louis and brought this presence, this je ne sais quoi, this pressure, right? There's a game that I like playing called Civilizations, right? And in Civilizations, they kind of change it where when you own your civilization, right, it exerts outward pressure on cities that are close to you, where you could actually, their city could join you, right? Like Texas joining the Union, something like that. That's what Brett Hull did. He exerted this hockey pressure outside of St. Louis that rotated down to Nashville, that rotated down to Dallas, that rotated over to Colorado, that rotated up to Minnesota. Even though Minnesota was already hockey, he added to it. It was a Minnesota Duluth guy, right? I think he played.
He played for the Bulldogs.
So he took this stuff and spread it out, put it out in a way that it made St. Louis a very important hockey town when it wasn't before. And that, to me, that's not Gordie Howe playing in Detroit. Okay, that is what everything that Gordie Howe did. He didn't have to. If Gordie Howe played in any other city, Detroit is still hockey town. St. Louis is not a hockey town without Brett Hull. Period. Who's got to go? Okay, well, you know what? We can go ahead and call it a night. We're a little over the hour. I had a great show, man. First of all, thank you so much, Lance. I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
No problem.
And Ashley, thanks for jumping on. Hope the kids were good while you were, and things are going great. Keep doing good in your classes. I know that you're struggling a little bit, but don't give up. You're going to do great. Hey, everybody, this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, with my wonderful co-host Ashley Slapshot Jones and Lance Scott for the Blue Note Fan Report, saying aloha, mahalo, and you got to know that we're all bleeding blue with you. Aloha!